Hello, community. I'm here for our weekly drop in. And of course, we are moving through a time of transformation. It is Pitta season. It is the season when we are being called to reclaim our fire and to learn how to hold its power of activation, transformation, manifestation in a very balanced, embodied way. And we're moving through it a little bit differently this year. We are approaching Panchakarma from the angle of a quest. We're getting kind of creative with this, and I enjoy this because it allows me to get out of a particular box. The box of Ayurveda being the only sort of perspective in terms of how to go through a journey of transformation. It allows me to utilize more of the tools in my toolbox, to work with more of the different medicines that I hold. And so this may be a theme that is coming in this week, also in alignment with traditional Panchakarma and the Own Your Fire Panchakarma course that I created that you can find at rootsayurveda.blogspot.com. You'll want to access it by hitting the little hamburger at the top left of the screen on the blog site, and that will open up the archives for you and you can go back. It's a ways back. I think it was the second course that I posted there. These courses are free. There's no charge for them. Please feel free to pass them on to people you love, people you think could benefit from them. Share them on your social media networks, the links to the blog. It's a free resource for everybody. It's just something I wanted to give back. So certainly, if you're wanting to bring in Ayurveda, I am an Ayurvedic practitioner. For those of you that are new here, we do have a new member. We have Feeling Grateful here with us, which I just love. I just love. We call it FG for short. But it's wonderful to have you here. And I'm really looking forward to sharing this experience with you and everybody who's been here. And those of you who've journeyed through Panchakarma with me before as an Ayurvedic practitioner, we do have some of you in here too. And I'm just really excited to bring this new twist to it. Okay, so completely free resource. You can tap into that. I guide you step by step over 6 weeks through a total journey of transformation from the inside out, mind, body, spirit, totally holistic approach to healthcare, soul care, being really in alignment within your self care. And we're switching it up a little bit. We're taking it more to the alchemical angle. And I think it's perfect time to introduce this with Pitta season because Pitta is all about alchemy. Pitta is all about the digestion. Pitta is all about that transformational integration process. And so I was waiting to see what wanted to come in this week because that's what happens when we're moving through these quests, these journeys of transformation. I have to wait for the memo to come on through. And so it was interesting because the first thing that I really felt drawn to when I dove into the community energy for this week was a Wee Moon date book that was gifted to me. It was gifted to me by a member here. It was gifted to me by uh, Salt Witch, Salt Witch Apothecary, or Jennifer Happy, right? Our Bebo, as I like to call her, dear friend of mine. But she gifted me this. It's a daily calendar date book. And I felt compelled when I was diving into the energy for the community this week just to sort of sink into this book and see what does it say for this day? Because it's kind of like, it works like a farmer's almanac in a sense, I guess you could say, because it does show some correspondences. It lets you know what's going on with the phases of the moon and significant astrological transits. And I did save the page in the book with a herbal astrology oracle card that I pulled. I didn't look at it. Okay, so it's going to have some kind of message for us that will build off of this. We'll kind of look at that first, and we're going to dive in with some tarot and some some other things that came in. I got a big download here coming in, all right? This is how it's been recently. Like, there's so much energy coming through in the atmosphere. There's so much that wants to be spoken, and it's like, I'm just trying to keep up with all of the messages. So bear with me, bear with me. So I came across this, and it says, Ask the Raven. And it was a poem that was written by Aaliyah Alsif Spires. She wrote it in 2023. And on this date, Saturday the 28th, we have Pluto trine Neptune, okay, which that's a real interesting astrological transit there. Pluto trine Neptune. Trines are positive. Being in Neptunian energy, I feel like this is being able to reimagine the shadow. This is being able to work a bit of alchemy work. This is being able to look at what may be a very dark situation where maybe you are feeling like you're facing something unknown, or maybe you're bumping up against your fears, or maybe you're working with a lot of subconscious material, or you're dealing with maybe old hurts, old trauma, old things that you're sort of looking at here. But with the trine coming in with Neptune, it means we can reimagine. We can reimagine the darkness, and we can bring something of beauty out of what may seem ugly. We can bring something exciting out of what seems scary. It's like there's a revisioning process that is happening here. And I just thought that was very interesting. But we also have a difficult aspect, and that is Moon square Venus. And currently the moon is hanging out there. It looks like it's hanging out in Leo, okay? So yes, we're well into this like time of that Leo energy starting to build here. Even though it's Cancer season, we're still like getting a little bit of that ripple effect of what's going to come, what's going to go down when we reach that point of the Lion's Gate. I do feel like there's a lot of this just sort of introducing itself. But with that Neptunian energy, it's like it's stuff that we're picking up in a more out of the ordinary way, okay? Stuff that we're getting coming through, visionary experiences. And Raven is so appropriate. We always know when we're moving through these journeys of transformation, or what we're now going to call our quest of transformation, quest for fire, that we are really working with different animal totems that come in, that offer medicine to us, that offer guidance to us. And eagle came in, vulture came in, and there's been a lot of different medicines that have been coming in. Butterfly has introduced itself, and just so much, so much has been coming in. But here we have Raven showing up on the scene, and showing up in a very interesting way, very interesting way. So I wanted to read this poem to you because I feel like this is the message. And it talks about women, okay, in this particular passage here, this poem here. But when you're hearing women, I want you to think the embodiment of like the planet Venus. I want you to think of the Venusian energy, so you can start relating to the feminine in a different way. Because it doesn't matter, even if you're a man, you still have within you the receptive quality, the yin quality to the yang. So it's more like looking at it though through hermetics, like a hermetic angle, when we're looking at alchemy here. And so I want to bring in that sort of reference point when I share this poem with you. Okay, so Ask the Raven. I like my women how I like the ocean, unwavering and deep, full of folklore and secrets only decipherable by a mystic's tongue, flowing and crashing wave after wave of emotional ecstasy, I like my women how I like the mountains, unapologetically taking up space, stable yet crawling with life, unfarmed and uncultivated. I like my women how I like me, authentically and achingly true, wholeheartedly intuitive, bravely savoring life, faithful to divine timing, thirsty for the moonlight, dripping with the sun's glow, relentlessly manifesting dreams into reality, wild, untamed, and free. And so this is the spirit that we enter week 2 in of this journey of transformation that we are going to be traveling through together on this quest during the summer season. And so, just even within this poem, there was a lot that came through there. The energy of the water, speaking of the waves, which is interesting to me because Raven is associated with Butterfly Clan. We've already had that medicine introduce itself to us last week, which speaks about the stages of transformation. Raven is also associated with Libra. It is Libra's birth totem, and it's associated with the direction west. And the direction west is the direction of the water. It holds the elemental water on the medicine wheel. So we're bringing the medicine wheel in here this week, and I'm really excited about that. I think it's very rootsy. It's very earthy. I think it pairs beautifully with concepts of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is an elemental approach, but so is the medicine wheel. And so I think this is a really interesting turn for things to take here, and I'm thrilled to bring this in. And there's this piece about this that's really wanting to be introduced this week. So I do want to talk about that, just touch on that for a moment so you understand sort of a little bit about the medicine wheel and how it works. It does work with the elements and it works directionally, and we can look to different directions to harmonize with certain energies. And it's a way that we can sort of like work our path through having archetypal symbols as well as actual elemental qualities that we can work with to harmonize ourselves with the cycles of nature, with the seasons, and with the seasons of our life and the changes that are occurring within us at this time. Currently, summer season and Pitta is associated with the direction south, which is the direction of the fire elemental. But this week we're really being asked to bring the water in, okay? And so that's very revealing here because there can be an indication if we're needing the water, then something may be a bit too inflammatory here. There may be too many repressed emotions or feelings that are held in or energy that's wanting to be expressed that's being bottled up, and so it's creating a pressurized internal environment. We could be feeling overheated here. We could have been going through the fire quite a bit, and now we need a little nurturing. We need a little cooling off. We need to be able to sort of like rest and do a little bathing under the light of that silvery moon in order to sort of temper all that we've been doing to make hay while the sun shines. So this is about that moderation and the modulation of the pitta quality coming in here. The power direction associated with the raven on the medicine wheel is the west. So there's something about this coming in for our quest this week. Pay attention to the west and really anchor this in your day-to-day experience. So let's say you're going out on a walk. You want to get outside, you want to go for a walk, you want to just kind of like move the energy, move your body a little bit, get things moving, right? If you got an option to sort of like meander a bit, see what happens when you keep taking the direction west. You know, every time you head down the street, you know, make a turn west, and just see what you find there. Um, there's something of power to be found in the west. As well, when we're looking at that direction in west, we're also looking at the quality of the setting sun. Okay, so this is a time when you can really find a lot of balance, is to go outside, maybe even go for a walk where you're heading west and you can reflect on the sunset as a way to harmonize your energy right now with what you're needing to really balance out your fire. So it doesn't burn too hot. You burn too hot, you burn too fast, you burn out. Okay. You want a nice steady burn. Even better yet, you want to evoke a little of that water. Remember, pitta is not just fire, pitta is also water too. But water in its more bilious aspect, as is used in digestion to break things down, to extract the nutrition from it. And when we're speaking of it on that level, we're speaking of it on an alchemical level too. So there's something to be extracted from this week's experiences that is going to give you this moment of what you need for your nurturing. Okay, it's something that fills you, and it's something that's essential for your healing process here. It's part of that digestion process, it's part of that uh, purification process as well, integration process, elimination process. Okay, and certainly within the course, within the Own Your Fire course based in Ayurveda, this is the week when we do more of kind of like a liquid diet. We do a week of cleansing where we turn to more things like light, fresh foods, fresh, juicy, sweet, seasonal fruits, and really enjoy that. And we also bring in things like lots of hydration with like agua frescas and just getting lots of good, pure water into our system. Maybe even getting a little ginger tea in there, getting things moving. You can bring in a little mint too. Mint and ginger together as a tea is lovely. And it supports that process, but it also, it's good on a metaphysical level. Both of those qualities there, the ginger root and then the herb mint, they both of them are really good for warding. Okay, they're good for warding, and mint is good for cooling, and ginger is nice. It's tridoshic, even though it's got a little spice, it's got some sweetness too, and that keeps a nice like equilibrium. This is when you might want to make some smoothies, lighter, fresher foods, things that are easier to digest. Okay, I go into all those details over there on the blog, on the roots, ayurveda.blogspot.com. Okay, so check it out and bookmark it so you can easily find it, and you can go back week to week if you feel like moving through that, or you're just curious, you want to check it out, maybe pull a little this, a little that from it to integrate in what we're doing here. Okay, but it can be very supportive. So in that respect, it makes total sense why it would come in. Also, when we're looking to transform the inner ecology, we want to achieve a liquid fire state. We want there to be good flow. We want to warm up the tissues, but we also want to get a lot of release happening there. And we want our lymph to be moving nicely so we can really flush everything out of our system. And the reason why we turn to more of that kind of like cooling sort of diet at that time, the time of summer, and to temper pitta, to temper the fire, is because, first of all, it's what's seasonal. There's a lot of fresh fruit that's available. This is the time for it. This is when we want those real nutrient rich and also very like hydrating. Hydrating foods that we're taking in. It balances out the energy. Okay, so that's one of the reasons. But another reason is that all of those plant foods, they have a lot of enzymatic activity, especially the fruits, and that enzymatic activity supports the digestion. See, so it's all in alignment with each other there, but it also gives our digestion a break. It takes it easy on our digestion, so our digestion's not inundated. And it can do the heavy lifting of, okay, let me get all this old sludge out. Let me get all this old stuff out. Let me clear all of this out. And this is really important because that direction of west on the medicine wheel is about the setting sun. It's about the end of the day. It's about adulting. Adulting in the sense of, you know, the work that you're here to do, what you have to do, the things you need to get done. Also about finding your place. Where do you belong? Finding your own personal sense of meaning. Um, Finding your life purpose. It's also a time of introspection and letting go and connecting with the emotional self. And in terms of nature, it is very connected to the water elemental, as we already brought in, and specifically thunder beings. Okay, so those storms that can come through that like clear the air and wash everything anew. There might even be something, even though it's interesting, because it's like, well, wait a minute, it's not, but it's summer, why would we be connecting with the West? Because the West is more associated with the season of fall. But there's this thing that's happening here. It's like Raven is bringing a message from the future, from the fall, from the time of harvest, to assist you in what you need to do to prepare yourself right now in this moment that you are making hay while the sun shines, to set yourself up for that full table, to ensure you have a seat at that table, but also all those that you love and care about have a seat there with you. All right, so this is the magic that's working here. The planet that is associated with the direction west is the moon. And that's just so perfect and fitting, especially because it is Cancer season, and Cancer is ruled by the moon, and Cancer is that water, and Cancer is that source, is that mama, is that sense of home, finding that place where you belong. The energy is just so harmonized. It comes through so beautifully. And so I really wanted to bring this piece in. It's associated with the color black, and black is the unknown. Black is the darkness. It's the field of potentiality. A lot of people fear the dark or what they can't see. It makes them feel like they don't have control, right? But there's something about this right now when we're tuning into the West on the medicine wheel. And it doesn't have to be that season for you to turn to that direction in the medicine wheel. The directions of the medicine wheel, they flow with their own rhythms too, with your own internal rhythms, with the different stages you're at in your life and what you're experiencing. But it's asking us to turn this direction right now, because in order to prepare for the time of harvest, we have to understand that the West is the direction of the time of leaves and harvest. And what happens with the leaves in the fall? They fall away. They fall away, they release, but it's a thing of beauty. So we're kind of being asked right now to start that process of releasing, start that process of letting go. And the way that we do this is through introspection. Okay? Introspection. Raven is very intimately connected with Crow medicine. Both are very similar. Both are keepers of sacred law. Raven is a little bit more tapped into the alchemical or magical aspect, right? The reason why we got this message coming in is because there is some letting go that we're being asked to do right now, and a need to have a little bit of meditative introspection. And in order to get that empowerment of the West from the medicine wheel, you got to face the West. That is the power direction. There's different spirit keepers, okay? There's spirit keepers at each of these elemental gateways, you could say. And when we're looking at the West on the medicine wheel, the spirit keeper there is the grizzly bear. And the grizzly bear speaks of meditation, hibernation, The pineal gland is very much connected to the grizzly bear because it is about entering a more meditative space. So, one of the things you're being asked to do during this week, um, in terms of your quest and this alchemical work we're doing here, is to make some time this week to go out and drink in the setting sun and to meditate on that and to ask for Raven to send you the message that you need to receive at this time, to tell you what is needed for transformation in your situation. There's something here that needs to be released, likely around grief, likely around some old grief that you have not been able to let go of. The lungs come through very strongly when we look at the West and we look at Raven. And the reason for that is, as I was saying, Raven is part of Butterfly Clan. Butterfly Clan is associated with the air element. Okay. Also, if you have any strong Libra in your chart, or if you have strong air in your chart, you'll probably really be feeling this energy right now. You may want to connect with a Libra. You might want to ask a Libra a specific question. It could be expressing itself like that. If you have strong Libra in your chart, where do you have it? There's a question you need to ask, that part of yourself, wherever it is on your personal wheel, your personal medicine wheel that you can find in your zodiac chart, in your natal chart, and in your progress chart. Again, the seasons of us are always moving, changing, shifting, going through an evolution. So keep an eye on your progress chart. You'll be really amazed if you follow the progressions, the transits, how much more in rhythm you will be with your astrological chart, and how much more you will really understand that while it's a guide to the stars, it's a guide to the cosmology of you. It helps you chart a course through the cosmology of you. It's where all your empowerments and guidance comes from. It's really true. It helps you really flow with so much more ease. So the reason why I say that there's something about grief coming up here is because a plant medicine that is associated with Raven is mullein. Now, there's a couple different qualities about mullein. There's limits on mullein. Certain plants, are extremely invasive, and so there's limits on, how much can be planted because very, very quickly mullein can like crowd everything out, take everything over. But mullein has a really strong medicine, and the medicine that it has is it's excellent for clearing out congestion in the lungs. It's excellent for clearing out old grief, stuff that we're holding on to. The lungs are associated with grief. So I feel like there is something that needs to be processed here. So mullein is something you may want to work with. You could work with it in steam inhalations to clear out your lungs. And then you could let that stuff come up and out. Just be prepared, Ama, that which is undigested will come out if you do steam inhalations. If you get a little, bowl of boiling water and you have some mullein steeped in there and you tent your head and close your eyes and you breathe that in for like 5 minutes, you'll be surprised what expels, and you'll also be surprised how it can get stuck emotions moving. But I really feel like you're meant to bundle all that up. Like in a metaphorical, you could even do it as a visualization with the setting sun. Bundle it all up in a medicine bundle and give it over. Give it over to Raven. Give it over to Raven. Give it over to the West. Let it go down with the setting sun. Let it be cleansed. Let it be purified in that ocean, in that water. You might also want to work with sweetgrass for your smoke cleansing. It's a purification that's used in association with the direction west on the medicine wheel. And sweetgrass It has that tempering quality. It's much different energy signature than sage. It's more like the feminine to the masculine sage, I would say. So there's something about this. And bring in some sweetgrass for purification. And I think that's very interesting because usually sweetgrass is used as purification before important ceremonies. So I feel like there is some real important, potent um, time of initiation coming in here in our lives. Something is going through a deep transformation. It really feels like we're supposed to be ready for this because we're being asked to do this introspection, this integrative work. Grizzly bear, we're meant to really do this internal processing at this time. It's very important. Grizzly's also protective, right? And hibernates as well. And you're being asked to really balance. And this may sound strange, okay? But I know it'll resonate with y'all. I know it'll make sense to you. We're being asked to balance in quite an unconventional way, other than you would normally think about it, because Pitta needs balance through moderation, the gold mean, okay? But there's something coming in here about indulging in both the extremes will help you find the middle way. And that is kind of how it's coming through. So we know that, you're working hard here. There's a lot you're doing. You're very busy. You're making hay while the sun shines. The activity is picking up. Things are wrapping up. Oh, wrapping up, I said, and I wanted to say ramping up. See, that it's happening simultaneously, though. Like, there's no space between. This is all going down right now. So there's something here that we're being asked to do where even as things are ramping up, we also have to be wrapping up things, and that requires a little bit of winding down, letting something wind down. So we're being asked to, when we're focused and we're using our fire, okay, and we're taking those actions, and of course that west direction on the medicine wheel is associated with our work, our occupation, our life's work, our purpose, what's inspiring us, compelling us to make hay while the sun shines. Well, when we're doing that stuff, be all in, be really focused, be driven, like really use your fire in an inspired way. Fuel your fire by pouring it into the things that are driving you forward at this time, because they feel like, yes, this sense of purpose, this calling is awakening in me. And at the same time, you got to counterbalance it with deep rest, like complete letting go. Like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm turning off my phone. I'm completely unplugging. I'm sleeping in. I'm taking the day off from exercising. I'm going to give myself just the opportunity to do nothing but dream and indulge. And you'll find your recalibration like that, instead of struggling with sort of an all or nothing mindset. There's a way you can be all and nothing and have it be completely harmonious and balanced, right? So remember that as you move through this week. We are still, even though the direction west is associated with the water, when we're looking at Raven specifically, okay, that came in here, it is air. Okay, so there is this need to, bring in a little bit of nourishment, especially because you probably are, a bit out in the ether at this time, especially if the direction associated with fall is introducing itself, because fall season is associated with Vata, which is ether air element. All right, so it's sort of like preparing us now, like there's some old stuff you still got there. And also Vata's connected to the lungs. Okay, so it's like it's letting us know, it's speaking to us environmentally through the elements of things that are needing to be addressed physically, but it also has an impact on us spiritually, emotionally, and with our path. I see this is what I love about fusing all of these different approaches, because it really helps you understand it in a different way. I mean, at its heart, Ayurveda is alchemy. Working with the medicine wheel is alchemy. We are alchemy. Human beings themselves are alchemical, uh, manifestations through all the elements coming together that make up us. So I think this is a way to really root it in our material reality and understand it and relate to it through the elements themselves. It's really kind of a cool approach. But we know that, we're going to need to sort of like clear that air. The lungs need to be able to, that you need to be able to take in fresh air. You need to be able to take in fresh prana, fresh life force energy. This is really important, okay? So yes, mullion to clear that stuff out, to clear out the lungs. The colors brown and the colors blue can be very harmonizing for you right now. And yeah, maybe look at blue foods too, You could look at, bringing in some foods that come from the sea. You could look at bringing in some of the different seaweeds. They can be very hydrating. You may also want to bring in blueberries, okay? So you may want to bring in one of those blueberry bliss smoothies that's featured on that Pitta season Panchakarma course that you can access, okay? So there's, different ways you can relate to that. You may just want to bring more of those colors into your environment. You may want to wear those colors. Blue pea flower tea is fantastic too. Absolutely, So all of those energies, and yeah, it doesn't have to be set blue. You can work with the little periwinkle energy, merge them in. But what else is associated with blue, with that color blue? Vishuddha, the throat chakra. You see, so there's something that's being held in the lungs that needs to come up and out. It needs to be cleared. It needs to be expelled. It needs to be released. It's related to grief. There's something that needs to be shed here. There's something that needs to be released because this space hasn't been held for it. Probably because we've been in Pitta overdrive mode, fueled by Vata, and we need that time to have that nurturing and that time for digesting and that time of introspection. And then black as well. You can bring in the color black too. Black and relating to the color black in a different way. Looking at black not with a perspective of it being something negative, or not looking at it from the perspective that it's scary because you can't see anything. That's where things go bump in the night. But actually, maybe even finding a sense of harmonization with the beauty that can be found in the darkness by doing a little moon bathing, drinking in the lunar essence and taking that in, since the moon is associated with that direction on the medicine wheel. And again, the West is associated with planting and planting things in harmony with the lunar cycles, using that as a guide, as well as using the lunar cycles as a way to record time and events. Okay, so there's something about this coming in too. We're really being asked at this time. I mean, it's necessary for cooling and harmonization of what can be overheated fire through the solar energy during summer for Pitta season. It may be necessary, to start to harmonize with the moon a bit too. So maybe track that a little bit as well. Just sort of be aware of what's going on in your moon. Where is your moon? Where's your moon in your progress chart right now? Where has it shifted to? Because your moon does not stay in your natal position all year. It actually moves quite frequently. So if you follow your progress chart, there's something about that, like following your moon and harmonizing with that. And in fact, there might be a way that there can be this sort of like pattern developed, that's more supportive, that's more of a flow rather than something so rigid and perfectionistic that, Pitta can get into. Pitta can put themselves in a box. The fire can put you in a box where you get really pressurized because there's too much rigidity and it has to be just so imperfect. And it's like this more energy of wanting to flow is what's wanting to come through. Oh, nice. I love that. Oh, Ginger is so excellent. So excellent. So let's see, what is this card that I randomly pulled here that I put in that Wee Moon book to mark the spot? Mmm. Babansana, number 8, trust, associated with strength. Look at this. Got hummingbird medicine coming in there and the spiral of DNA. Look how it leads to the north node. The jeweled heart. Also, it does look a little bit like a chakra too. I feel like this is really speaking of Vishuddha. And there's something being activated also just because of the elemental air quality associated with Raven. There is something that's coming through that's wanting to be spoken, wanting to be expressed. And this card, wow, okay, really in harmony. I just like randomly picked this out to save the spot, but I knew it would have a message. This card is associated with the planets, the moon, and Neptune. So very much in harmony with this energy we're moving through right now. There's joy and sweetness that is promised here. But do you see that even as she's like building the light and she's meditating here, and there's like this spiral of creation that's coming from her heart center, and it makes me think of that sense of grief that can be held in the lungs and wanting to find the path of heart, but perhaps the congestion in the lungs is it's preventing, the full exhalation, the full expellation of that energy pattern. And there needs to be that sort of physically cleared out. So not only can you inhale new life, inhale new prana, new sources of nourishment, experiences, all of that, but also there needs to be the opportunity to finally exhale and let something go, let it fall away, let it release. And that's how finally, the light gets through the wound. And there's something here that's really activated in our DNA. There's ancestral links here, right? It comes from our roots. It comes from our roots of nourishment, though. Tapping into roots that nourish us as well. And there might be something coming in here for you too about, when was the last time you really dove into your spiritual roots in terms of your ancestry and your ancestral, spiritual lineage that you come from. There's a lot that can really come in to nourish you if you start diving into that a little bit, because we still have like this, there's whale medicine up here. That's all about that Akashic record stuff. And it's also about breaching. That's another thing, whales break the barrier, right? They breach. And there's something here that you're meant to breach. And in order to be able to breach that and enter into a new dimension of experience, in order to experience that transformation, something needs to be shed here. Something needs to be released. But once it's released, this light will start to pour through your heart. And then the wisdom comes in. You'll know the path that leads to your purpose. You'll know your path that leads to your North Star. And it brings sweetness and it brings joy. And hummingbird medicine is associated with the north. That's the time of winter on the medicine wheel. It's also where the blessings come in. It's also the direction that's associated with white buffalo. Okay, so this is also about sort of feeding off of what we brought in last week. This is also about practicing gratitude. That is the medicine of white buffalo. That is the direction of the north. To give gratitude, to make offerings in honor of blessings that are already there. It's like a demonstration of absolute faith and trust and spirit. Like, I know I'm provided for. I know I'm blessed. I know you're watching over me. And when you move into partnership with spirit and life itself like that, beautiful doors start to open. It really is true. I feel like this is the beauty path. The beauty path is opening up to you, and it is a path of heart. With number 8 coming in there, it's strength. You know, this is an empowering moment. And that is the whole point of working with owning our fire, is to be able to wield that fire in a very balanced, empowered way. It's interesting here because we got like this compass, and this compass is sort of, it's very surrealistic, you know. It's like it's almost telling us there's a new way forward here. It's a little surreal, okay? It's a little bit different of a way to move forward for you to find your direction, but it becomes so clear when there's less trying and there's more just open receiving for it to come in. I think that's why there's so much of this lunar essence coming in here. And I do want to read Bob and Sana. Let's go ahead and read about this because I want to hear about the medicine. Let me see. Where did I put that book? Where do I have this book? I know I have it around here somewhere. Where did I put it? There it is. Let's see what it has to say. I'm going to look into it a little bit more deeply because I don't know, some of you may feel compelled to get your hands on some Bob and Sana. I'm not familiar with it. I've never worked with it before. But let's see what it has to say. Star Tree Dancer is very versed in all kinds of herbalism, quite gifted in that respect. Even has a business where you can get all kinds of goodies that she makes. Goddess body rituals on Facebook, correct? So, yep, trust. Okay, Bob and Sana, number 8, trust. Upright. So, when we bring it into the light, we work with building this energy. It invokes the qualities of self love, heart retrieval, ultimate state of receivership, gratitude, receptivity, and compassion. In a shadow aspect, and this is kind of a good way for us to gauge where are we at, you know, with our hearts. Are you feeling self-love? Do you feel like you've called your heart back home into that chest of yours? Do you feel like you are open to receive? Have you been feeling grateful? Are you receptive? Are you able to access compassion? Okay. If you're operating more in the shadow, you're going to be dealing with themes of separation, grief, broken heart, lack of self-worth, unable to receive love, and sadness. Okay. So this did come in about like clearing out the grief. Isn't that wild though? Do you see how there's like the interconnection points with what came in? That's why I love working just like from an elemental perspective. Don't matter the tradition. If you work elementally, it all comes together cohesively. It's quite amazing. That in and of itself is a bit of magic. Okay, so let me go ahead and read about the roots of this particular medicine here and see what we can learn. It says in the Shipibo tradition, Babensana is a highly respected master teacher that contains a plethora of medicinal benefits for the body, mind, and spirit. Native to the Amazon basin, many call the herb Sirenita. Sirenita or mermaid. Beautiful paintings found in the Amazon among shamans depict her as a goddess, a deeply creative feminine spirit who has masterful healing abilities. Sirenita de los Rios. Okay. The light is a little dim for me to read that delicate print. Sirenita de los Rios assists us in healing wounds of the heart, past relationships, grief, loss, sadness, abuse, and melancholy. Babensana is often prescribed by a curandero or healer to heal wounds from childhood, for soul retrieval, or to heal a stunted soul, susto, that left fragments of itself in a painful past. Whether used as a single plant during specific shamanic cleanses, daitas, that's interesting, daitas, so very similar to like this week is about purification in Panchakarma with week 2 with the cleanse, right? So that's interesting. For purification and spiritual awakening, or brewed as a tea. Interesting. Babensana assists in deeply amplifying heart energy to experience the transcendent power of love, empathy, compassion, oneness, and freedom from pain. Babensana also grants the powers of expansive intuition and lucid dreaming. Many users, when ingesting Babensana through dietas or alongside other ceremonial brews, experience time differently, as if the barriers between waking life and dreaming get washed away. Wow, it is totally mirroring the download that came in. This is wild. It is said that these transcendent experiences of love beyond space and time are what allows for miraculous heart healing. And the guidance is Babensana's bright and pink flowers bathe the energy body with the softness of light, awakening the inner pathways to unconditional self-love. Babensana reminds us that love is the highest state of receivership, reminding us not to forget the necessary power of self-love. Babensana assists us in rediscovering forgotten places within ourselves, retrieving fragments of our hearts seeking healing. Ask yourself, where is my heart's memory? Well, where in my heart's memory can I bring wholeness? Where in my heart's memory can I bring wholeness to? That's kind of an interesting way she phrased that. Babensana medicine is like that of whales and hummingbirds, the joyous record keepers of the sacred that assist us in accessing the reservoirs of the cosmic heart. Sirenita is reminding you to pay close attention to the messages encoded in dreams, synchronicities, and symbols that surround you right now. Through those doorways, you can further explore the great mystery of your heart's desire. So, in terms of magical beings, we got some mermaids guiding us, or perhaps sirenitas that we need to be aware of here, okay? It makes me also think of like the siren's call of the past, or the siren's call of the unhealed parts of ourselves that have us heading out into that wild territory and then finding ourselves capsized, you know what I'm saying? So I think there's a lot to sort of reflect on there. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Raven medicine coming through really strongly. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a round with the tarot too, because I just sort of want to get some further details coming in for us about really anchoring this, but I feel like there's a lot to work with here and be on the lookout with. Let's just see what was on the bottom of the deck. Look at this. See, there's something that we're being prepared for here, but in order to move into this elevation, this success, this victory, you know what it gives me? It gives me the vibe of like the hero's quest, the hero's journey. You know, it's like you open the road as the fool, but by the time you get to the end, this is how you're moving forward, right? And so this reminds me of like Raven coming from the future in the fall back to us here now to tell us of this to come and what we need to do to prepare ourselves to move into this energy, to move into the energy of the harvest. It's like prepare for the harvest within the self, even as you're moving in harmony with the summer season and making hay while the sun shines, because there's something that you need to ready yourself for here, I feel, is how it's coming through. All right, let's get some more details around this. What else do we need to know about this to carry forward with us this week, Spirit? What else do we need to know about this to carry forward with us this week, Spirit? What else do we need to know about this spirit as we move forward this week? On our quest for transformation, our quest for fire. Looks like we're at the purification part. I mean, fire is cleansing too, you know? Fire burns away what needs to be cleared from the land for there to be new growth as well. It serves its purpose. Needs to come through here. Is there anything that's come through here? It's kind of interesting. Oh, there we go, finally. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's not time yet for this arrival point, though. I see that, okay? It's more like this is what's beneath the surface here. This is what we're preparing the ground for this moment. There might be this need for us to, you know, get in this position where we are moving into a more introspective space, where we are doing release work, where we're letting things go, precisely because there might be, you know, something that comes in that, you know, requires that we're ready for the challenge, like we're ready to face that challenge, that we're fit for that challenge. Because I think that the reason why we're being asked to do this is there's an opportunity that will be coming in. There's an opportunity that will be coming in soon that we're going to want to invest in. But in order to be able to invest in it, we're going to need to be within a real secure position within ourselves. We're going to need to be grounded. We're going to need to feel real stable in ourselves, okay? So I feel like that's why this energy is coming in here. And look at that. This was the only card that was in reverse. Yeah, because see, there's treasure here. There's harvest here. There's reward here with the Nine of Pentacles. This card's been coming out a lot lately. A lot. And this card is all about that reward. But the reward, a lot of times people look at this card and all they think about is like the money, the riches, you know, the external progress. I mean, certainly I see that here. I see financial growth. I see moving into a much more comfortable position where you're able to enjoy life more, where you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, okay? I don't feel like it's there yet. It's not here yet. But when we're looking at the Nine of Pentacles, we're also looking at a time of real emotional growth, spiritual growth, you know, the true gold here, all right? It's also vitality, looking good, feeling good, being in your element, you know, doing what you're here to do. So this is like what we're being asked to prepare ourselves for here. That's why we're doing this purification work this week. That's why this influence of the West on the medicine wheel is coming in and all that. Okay, any more details about this that we need to be aware of? All right. Also, be aware of what you're holding on to that, you know, may need to be transformed, because I see with the Queen of Wands here, there's something that isn't being looked at. You know, it's kind of like pushed aside. The Queen of Wands knows how to transform a situation, works that alchemy, fire sign energy. This is about filling the cup of the self with the Ace of Cups. This is what the focus needs to be. Pouring into yourself. Pouring into yourself, nurturing yourself, giving yourself space to feel, to process, to nurture yourself, to rest, to integrate, to meditate, to let yourself just experience just releasing and relaxing into the more feminine, receptive aspect, to balance out, you know, the work you have to do, the things you have to do day to day to, you know, keep things ticking, all right? It's going to be important. It's going to be important because there's going to be a time where you're going to have to move forward in such a way where, you know, you have to move out of a sense of maybe what's been set in place or feels really secure. And yet it's essential. And the more you can do this work right now to really fill your cup and clear out the old energy, the more that you can avoid being in this space, you know, where you're trying to maintain your balance and everything feels like a little, you know, wobbly, and you feel like you can't get those ships to come into shore because you're having a hard time holding it all. Like if you have an accumulation of Amma, right? If you have a lot of old stuck energy, old stuck emotions, old stuck physical issues, it makes it a lot harder to move forward in a strong, stable way. And there is something that you are going to be doing, some kind of action you're going to be taking, you're going to radically bring a transformation in your life. And this requires you to be in that Nine of Pentacles energy, you know, really in your element, feeling good, looking good, because you're taking really good care of yourself. You've really integrated all your lessons, you know. There's an attractiveness, there's a glow in that. Because there will be an opportunity that comes in here. I see it. There's news of an opportunity. Okay? But it's like, in order to be able to take the opportunity and be prepared for it, there's a necessity to, you know, block out time for doing nothing, block out time for rest, for just letting go completely. That's kind of the theme this week, letting go, giving it over to the water. Okay, let me do a cut of the deck. Let's cap this off. See what we got. Page of Wands. See, it's interesting. It's like the fire, the water. The fire and the water get things cooking together. And this is Pitta. This is alchemy. This is that temperance. Sometimes you'll see temperance balancing out water and fire. Sometimes water, earth. It's all the same trip. But when we're looking at fire, water together in this capacity, when we're looking at it through the lens of a quest, that is the cauldron of Dacta. It's what's needed for healing. And it's something that's very nourishing for us. And in nourishing us, it gives us the ability to provide a lot of nourishment for others. And this is something, likely, with the way this is coming in, it's connected to our purpose. It's connected to some kind of work that we're here to do. Okay? But this is news. This is news. This is an invitation. This is news coming in, and it sparks us to take action here. Let's see what's on the other side. You see? And there you are. You're heading on that hero's quest. You're leaving behind. There will be the point where you're leaving behind an old way of being. There will be the time when you also leave behind the old energy pattern. And that's what changes the path up ahead, because this Eight of Cups here, what's being let go of here is all that old stuck stuff that's lodged in, you know, in your body, in your cellular memory, in your lungs, you know, so this clearing out. People are always surprised about that. When I've done Panchakarma with them before, they're always surprised. They're like, how do I feel so different? Like emotionally, and my life is changing and everything feels different, but we're just like doing body work, and, you know, we're working with mantras, and, you know, we're doing like this physical work, and we're doing like a specific, you know, nutritional approaches in this, but it's because it's all interconnected. None of it's separate. Macrocosm is reflected in microcosm. So, and that is the key to alchemy. It really drives it home. So this really feels like this is what needs to happen this week. This week, it's about bringing in more of the water, okay? More of the water. More of the lunar essence, tuning into the energy of the sunset, the setting sun, tuning into introspection, what needs to be released, harmonizing with that lunar essence, doing moonbathing, all of that, and readying yourself for these blessings that are to be received, for these gifts that are to come in. And remember to keep up what we brought in the first week about gratitude and working with that spirit of gratitude. Maybe take it to the next level. Maybe make an offering. You know? Maybe get your hands on some sweetgrass. Okay? Just some ideas to work with. Okay, some things to work with. If you want to work with a stone, like just like a touchstone, something that can help you get in touch with the earth aspect, right? Of the energy, like what's being nurtured here, guide me in what needs to be nurtured. A good stone to work with, it harmonizes with the direction west and is connected to Raven on the medicine wheel would be Jasper. Okay, so any Jasper that you want to work with can be quite beneficial too, just in helping you anchor the energy. Okay, all right, and that's what I got for this week. That's what's coming through as sort of the work to be done, the focus to be had. And then I'm gonna clear on out of here and bring in a little something for the main channel. Probably something a little bit more condensed. I've been diving in more deeply with the members tonight, and I wanted to. I enjoy dropping in with you all and connecting with you all, and I really appreciate you all and all the support you give to the work I do. And yeah, I just wanted to pour a little extra into you all tonight and just kind of like fill your cup there. But before I log off here, is there anything you wanted to bring in? I see there's a couple people in the room, but you know, no need to bring anything in if you've just been kind of like just chilling out listening. But if you want to bring anything in, I'm happy to receive it, or anything you want to contribute before I close this out. Okay, it looks good. I think we're good. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Maybe I'll see you on the main channel later. I'll probably be in the small hours by the time I get that released. I'm gonna do a little short read. I think I'll just do like a whatever wants to come out, like 20-minute, half an hour read, something like that for the main channel. But I'll be on. I'll be on later. But you're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you for all you do for the community here and all you bring in. I appreciate you. I'll be back. You know, I'll be back on Wednesday. So I'm MIA. I totally unplug. I've really started doing that. Really started honoring that. Just really totally unplugging. Kind of like what I talked about there. When I work hard, but you know, on my days off, on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I totally unplug from work. So I will see you all on Wednesday after I get out of here tonight. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this time, and anytime you want to drop anything on the comments, like after the fact, after these lives, and share your experience or ask questions or anything like that, bring it in, bring your voice in. Contribute what you have to share. It's a collective energy, and we're doing this work together, and I feel very honored to share the road with all of you. Okay? All right, take care. Have a good night, and see you soon.